Good morning traders, welcome to this week's Asian session outlook. So far this morning we're seeing some gains from the risk majors to the USD, but don't let that fool you. We can see right here what happened on Friday, and that was a result of the core PCE index coming out higher than expected. So you can see that it was expected to come in at 0.4%, and the data that came in was 0.6%. So this sort of rattled the markets. We can see exactly here that the dollar surged. We got back to this level of resistance, which now sort of says to us that we have, the trend was grinding for this period here, but now it's started to accelerate. And if we do see a break of this level here and possibly a new test and break above this level here, then you really are starting to see like a proper trend break now. And then would be looking for, if we did see a pullback, a new higher low to push further with a new high to continue to confirm that we have a short-term to possibly medium-term trend back on track for the US dollar. So looking at some of the currencies, so we can see the dollar, the Aussie is trading 0.1% higher to the USD. We can see the euro is just in the positive, and so is the pound. At the moment things are mixed to the yen. The Aussie is probably the firmest this morning, and the rest of the majors are trading lower, and the Kiwi is trading higher this morning as well. Gold is trading higher very early in trade, and but that's after that strong move lower after the US dollar steamed ahead last Friday. Now stocks had a weaker session as well to end out the week, and we'll just check on some of those figures, and we'll have a look at the ASX this morning as well. So the ASX is currently 56.50 points lower, that's 0.77%, and that's off the back of those weaker US leads, which saw the Dow lose over 300 points, the NASDAQ 42 points, and the NASDAQ 195 points, and the S&P 42.228 points. So it really just comes back down to what the focus has been on, and that's really inflation, rates, and what is the Fed's policy. And I think the PCE was something that has continued to push the market towards a bit of a shock. We did see some of that higher CPI data the previous week, which sort of had mixed results, but combined with the last inflationary data, which continued to come out higher than expected. This one has also just reinforced that inflation continues to be a bit of a problem in the States, and that the Fed is going to continue to raise rates. So I think now the worry is that we're going to see any further 50-point hikes, as opposed to just seeing 25-point hikes, and that's sort of what's continuing to set up a fair bit of nerves. So this will be a continuing story. We don't have too much in the way of key data coming out this week to sort of continue to monitor that, but I think any comments from the Fed at the moment will be watched pretty carefully, and I think the market has sort of started speaking now in terms of what's going on in their opinion with that recent data that's coming out. So we get some of the US indices, so we'll start with the US30. We still see, even though we had that big drop on Friday, price is still sitting around this support area. We tested it, but we saw a pullback like in the New York session, and there is still a lot of demand going down to this level here, and that's around that 35,502 points. So that's sort of the band we'll be watching this week. So it's really from here, which we have entered into, and then down to this level here. So that's where we're looking to see if any support can be formed. There's also a bit more support down at 35 even. So we'll continue to watch that area for the US30. But the trend now, we can see, well, even though we're in a range, the short-term inside trend is definitely down. There's no doubt. There's no arguing with that right now. And we'll just have to see what happens with short-term momentum, and if any new influences come out. The NASDAQ, we can see that it broke through this little junky rally. We had a new push lower, and this is the area of support that we're keeping a look at the moment. It's 11,933, and on the SPX500 we can see another break of that small junk rally after the initial break, and it's not as clear the support on the S&P. There's a bit down here, that's around that 3890 area. But there is some demand here, and we can see it was tested on Friday, and that goes down to 39.43. really up to 39, 50 to 60. So these are a couple of areas that we're watching this week. European indexes, we saw some declines. That range is starting to be tested. We talked about that range last week. We do have a lot of demand here as well, so it's quite a bit of a consolidation area there. Sellers yet haven't broken this properly, so we'll have to keep an eye on that once the German 30 comes online today. But if we do see a new push lower that breaks this level here as well, this trend section here could be under pressure, and be looking to see if this reaction will start turning into a correction. So something to keep an eye on if you do follow the DAX this week. We did touch on gold descent. So oil had a rally on Friday to end the week, and the situation doesn't really change. It's mid-range now in this consolidation pattern. That's our support area down here, and resistance here. That we'll be watching this area here, resistance at 79.41 if buyers can get back up there. But at the moment it's mid-range, and again, there's not too many trading opportunities right now unless you were looking to buy the low, maybe look at sell the high. But at the moment, yeah, it's consolidating as we have been seeing doing. So continue. We're still watching currencies as they open up today. Silver is leading out the metals at the moment. We're seeing 0.21% higher, and cryptocurrencies are slightly mixed at this stage. We're seeing this is after a pretty wild weekend of trade. So we had a big push down on Friday, and that's after that reaction to the worries about inflation in the US at the moment, and possibly increasing. And we saw a really strong rally on Sunday, and we're seeing a small start to the day here after a test lower. We're seeing a bit of fighting back, and Ethereum, similar story. It was a very big rally on Sunday. And again, we're going to continue to see if buyers can start to test this area here of resistance. And it's a similar story for a few of the cryptos today. So some of the other ones. So we'll touch on, this is the support here we're watching on Canando. I hope to see this can continue to hold. That's at 0.3535. And for BNB, there's not too much clear support, but that's really the resistance that we'd have to see tested and broken. So cryptos did have an interesting weekend, but there is some demand, and it looks like it's continuing today. I suppose it will be seeing what the reaction will be today and tomorrow from US indexes after Friday's core PCE index data. And with currency-wise, we'll continue to see if this is a bit of an overreaction, but we may need some more influence and to see if the dollar does have a bit of a pullback. Now this week coming up, there's a couple of things to keep a bit of an eye out for. It's not going to be as big as last week in terms of data, but we'll touch on a couple of things, and we'll stick with the Aussie because one of the key ones this week will be for Australian CPI, and that comes out on Wednesday. Now that CPI data is expected to come in lower at 8.1%, and that will be interesting to see if it does beat expectations, and that could have put some issues on the RBA after a weak jobs data that came out previously, and what the RBA's their future plans, because there's been a lot of public scrutiny and pressure on the RBA due to the rate rises, and they're still commenting that inflation is a worry, but if inflation does come in lower than expected, as it's forecast to, it could be a positive. May not be a positive for the Aussie dollar, but it could be a positive for a lot of people that have entered into mortgages. But if we do see a beat, that could put the RBA in quite a interesting position, and so that one locally should be a decent one. So we have CB consumer confidence coming out as well on Wednesday in the US, and we have Canadian GDP. And we have the new governor that's coming in for the Bank of Japan. He's speaking on Tuesday, and I think that one also will be watched. So as traders are trying to get more of an idea of his policy and what he's planning to do. So with the dollar yen, for instance, we do know that we've seen a strong rally on Friday. We'd like to see if it still does favour the dollar and is not favouring the yen. If we do see the dollar yen continue to push higher, and if we do see a test of this resistance at 137.82, so that will be an area to keep an eye on. I think other risk currencies as well, though, we have seen. So for the euro, for instance, there was the yen did push lower on Friday. It had a pretty bad session. So a break at this area here, just to show demand and to continue to see this trend that is not the best looking trend, but we do have a series of higher lows here, to see if we can break this resistance and push higher. That would be the resistance target. The first resistance target I'll be looking at is 145.14, and over on the pound to the yen, similar story, to see if we can just break above this level at 163 and then to continue to push higher with this series of higher lows. So other than that, we have the Governor of the Bank of England speaking on late Wednesday. We have ISM manufacturing PMI out of the US on Thursday morning, and then we have comments from the Governor of the Reserve Bank of New Zealand on Friday, and on Saturday to wrap it up we have ISM Services PMI for the US. So as stated, it's not the biggest week, but there is a couple of ones in there to watch. But I think definitely we'll just be seeing the USD, the momentum, if it can continue on, and how that's going to affect gold and other risk currencies that are trading against it, and the majors, and then just having a look at also US indexes and cryptos, at how they're, the wash up and really as the dust settles, and how things are as they digest what happened on Friday, and just how traders are seeing those assets moving forward. But definitely focus beyond the USD and some of the other the indexes, which are starting to threaten to start more short-term to medium-term downtrends. So that's it for today's update. So thanks very much for your time this morning. Have a fantastic week, and wish you all the best with your trading. And then I'll be one for sure be tuning into the CPI data out of Australia later in the week. So thank you very much, and good trading, and bye for now.